Hey guys, it's Jeremy again. We're going to do another tutorial video. This one is mainly going to be focused on spec maps. The spec maps are an important part of livery design. They can turn a brown car like this. Shout out to Tim. Thank you for volunteering the brown car. But they can turn a brown car like this into, hold on, this. Which, I mean, if you ask me, is quite a big difference. It's pretty basic stuff once you get the hang of it. It's just kind of a matter of knowing what you're doing. So I've got a default spec map pulled up here. We'll export that as our spec map. And as you can see, it's pretty much just gloss all over the car. It's like the car got washed, waxed, and put a nice fresh clear coat on it. It isn't always what you want for your paint scheme. Sometimes you want more of a matte effect or a chrome effect. To give yourself an idea of where you're going, there's a very helpful website right here, gabirmotors.com, Gabir motors.com, /tools/spec mapping, and pulls up this. You can go through and set a color, and obviously the default spec map is gloss. You can play around with flat. That'll be 80% on the roughness channel. Matte is 50% on the roughness channel. Satin, chrome, obviously just pure metal, right? And then metallic is a blend of metallic and roughness. So this gives you kind of a roadmap of what different effects you can achieve with the spec map and how to achieve them. Now let's figure out how to translate these numbers to the actual spec map itself. Okay, so we're going to go back to GIMP. We've got our spec map here. We want to set our mode to normal for the spec map itself. For metal, we want to go to addition. For rough, we want to go to addition. And the blue channel clear coat, we want to make sure that's set to addition as well. Okay. Now in all of these channels, this is your red channel, this is your green channel, this is your blue channel. In our red channel here, we're going to make a layer. We're just going to call this red. Okay. And we're going to paint this bucket fill, this layer, with the reddest red, FF0000. Okay, it's just red. It's 100% red. Okay. Now on this channel, just the red one, right? We are going to set this to multiply. Okay. In green, which is our rough, right? Above, like above the top layer, right? We're going to add in green. And this is the greenest green, 00FF00. We'll bucket fill that layer and we'll set that to multiply. Okay. And we have our blue channel clear coat above our base paint. We're going to create a layer. We will title this blue. And we are going to paint that, you guessed it, blue. 0000FF. And we will set that to multiply. And here you can see we have this weird kind of green and orange scale layout of our car. Okay. If we export this as the spec map, you can see it is pretty much identical to iRacing's default spec map, right? That is your gloss layer, wash, wax, clear coat. To customize that some more, you need to give these different channels different color palettes to work with. So I create a layer above this. We'll call this metallic, if I can spell, base. Okay, I'm just going to leave that blank for now. Above this layer, we'll create green matte base. We'll do a green metallic base. Just because green for matte, you need 50% of the black-white scale in the green channel for your roughness. But you also need some green mixed in with the red to give yourself a nice metallic effect, which is what we did on the BMW here to get the stripes, or sorry, the cracks to pop a little bit better against the matte brown. So with these layers created, we don't really ever mess with the clear coat. I've found if you screw around with this too much, make it too much of an effect, it can wash out the car when the sun hits it, and you get those kind of glowy white cars driving around the track. If that's what you're going for, then so be it, you know, but it's not my cup of tea. So we're going to go back to the paint scheme we have here. And then I usually just go through and since this paint scheme is going to be primarily matted out, I will take our green matte base. We've got this color here, you can see is 50%. This is our light scale, right? Black, white. So we want 50%, because if we go back to our Gabir Motors tool, right? And we want matte, that's 50% in the roughness, 0 in metallic, 0 clear coat. So we don't need anything over the clear coat, nothing over the metallic. We just need to add roughness. So we need 50% in the roughness channel. So we're going to take our green matte base. We've got our 50% color, and we can just bucket fill this one. Okay. Now some cars have these built-in layers of like preset spec maps. You're going to want to turn those off when you're doing this. If you are making your own custom spec map and you want full reign, right? If you want some input from the stencils and stuff like that, that's fine. But normally I turn these off just to give myself a nice clean slate to work with. I don't have anything else interfering. And so you can see our color changed drastically from this green to now it's a much lighter green since we added that 50% channel roughness. We added gray, right? But it made it lighter green. Turn our spec map off. And now we want to make sure that these cracks here, all these cracks that I've put on the car are supposed to be metallic, as well as these JJ Design logos that I've slapped on this thing. I want a metallic effect on those. And I'd like it if I can get these Pass logos, the gold ones at least, to be chrome. It makes the gold pop a lot better. So we need to address the metallic side of our spec map, right? We've got these empty channels, we haven't put anything in. So we're going to select everything that we want to be metallic. Got my JJ Designs logos. There's a little kitty cat that I stick on all these cars in honor of my kitten Midnight. Good luck finding her. She's normally tucked away. But we're looking for anything that we're going to want to make sure is metallic or chrome. We're selecting that right now. And going through, and we're going to get down here to this, I keep calling them stripes, to the cracks that I have added to the car. We're going to select all of these because these need to be metallic. Otherwise, they kind of die against the brown matte paint scheme. Once we have all of the layers that we want selected, we're going to right click on them. We're going to go to alpha to selection. And then on our metallic base here, we're going to pull up our spec map, make sure our metallic base is selected. Now to get a metallic effect, you need 90% metallic, 40% roughness. I've kind of tweaked my version of the metallic effect. So you guys will get a little glimpse of that. I go 30% on the roughness. So we're going to go the green metallic base. And then I usually use a paint tool here. Big brush, just spread it out. And then you're just going to do a couple passes over everything just to get that nice good coat in. And so we've got we're on our green base, right? The color we currently have selected is at 30% on the scale. We're just going to go over all these cracks. All the logos. Just get everything and clean it up when we're done. Okay, once we get all of that stuff painted, we're going to go up to our metallic base in the red channel. Just going to rename this real quick so there's less confusion. And now it said we wanted 90% in the metallic scale. I use 69. Just, nice. But This is, again, my personal preference for this kind of effect. We're going to make sure we're on our red metallic base. We've got our color selected, and we're just going to brush over all the areas that we had already painted on the green channel. Okay. Now we have a really basic spec map here. Go to select none. So you can see how the colors are varied here. We've got orange for the logos and some of the cracks and stuff, but there's no orange on anything else, and that's one of the ways you can help kind of differentiate where your effects are landing. We're going to export this as the spec map and go back and look at the car. And so as you can see here, we have a matte car, but there's a bit of a metallic sheen, some reflective qualities to the cracks themselves. And there's some metallicness to the Pass logos on the front of the car. Sorry, I got a fussy baby next to me, guys. Trying to keep the bomb from going off so I can get this video done. But there's some other areas where there's bleed through, right? We don't necessarily want the effect on here. And I would like it if we could keep the number boards more gloss. The windshield banners should be gloss. Certain bits of the car don't need to be matte, right? So we're going to go back into GIMP and pull up our paint. And then everything we do not want to be matte, we are going to select now. Okay. So we've already got special metallic channels for these. We don't want the Yorkshire T logos to be matte, right? We don't want any of the mandatory bits of the car to be matte unless they're supposed to be. I don't want the Pass banners to be matte. IMSA decals that are on the car, all the car decals, certain things we have on here, we don't necessarily want them to be matte. The flags, the Pass logos. Okay, the carbon fiber layers. SSN logos. Sorry, there's a bunch in here. So we're going to make sure we've got all these selected. You can select these cracks as well, just to help clean everything up. Just because they don't need to be a part of that matte layer. Okay, once we've got all these selected, we're going to go alpha to selection. Okay, we're going to scroll all the way back up to the top. We're going to turn on our spec map here. We're going to go to our green matte base. Okay, and we are going to Control X, just cut all of that out, right? See how now we've got darker green sections where all of that stuff used to be. Okay, but we also wanted to clear out that area where the cracks are across the carbon fiber that we don't need. So we can find our carbon fiber layer, alpha that to selection. You can see it's just highlighted that. It looks like the area that we want isn't quite highlighted yet, though. I think that's part of the car decal, maybe. Maybe. Ah, car mandatory. So we'll select that. And we don't need any of the paint on any of that. So you can go to your red metallic base, Control X, and go to your green metallic base and Control X. Okay, we don't need that effect on anything. At least none of those bits, right? We'll export this and go back to the car. And as you can see now, we've got the matte car. There's some gloss on our flags and on our decals. There's metallic effect on the logos and the cracks. And from there, it's just a matter of fine-tuning things. We wanted that Pass logo to be gold, like more gold. So we'll find those two, wherever they may be. Where did I put them? Here we go. We'll alpha these to selection. Now remember, the chrome effect was 100% in the metallic channel and 0% in the roughness. So we're going to cut that out of the green matte and the green metallic and the background itself. And then on the red metallic base, we're going to make sure this is set to white. That's 100%, right? And we're going to paint over just the Urpass logo. Scroll over to this side of the car, paint the Urpass logo here, export it, go back to the car, and now you can see it's much more of a gold chrome effect. There's some not quite filled in bits near the end. Those you just kind of need to go through manually and touch up. Some ways to do it are duplicating the decal itself. That usually increases the alpha layer enough to get yourself a nice good stencil around that original sticker. But these are the basics. Hopefully this is enough to get your guys' ball rolling with spec mapping and things like that. I will put a link to that Gabir Motorsports tool for the spec map in the description of the video. We will catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.